My younger sister, Serena Sue, wanted to spend a night with a rich young master, Lucas Min, hoping to change her fate. I tried everything to stop her, shattering her dream of marrying into wealth. The next day, news broke out that the rich young master was engaged to another wealthy heiress. Serena, unwilling to accept defeat, returned to her studies, eventually becoming a distinguished doctor at a top-tier A-list hospital. Yet 1 year after my wedding, she conspired with my husband, Jason Zhao. They burned my hair to ash, stabbed my body repeatedly, and threw me to my death in the freezing snow. She wore fiery red high heels, her face twisted in a grotesque sneer. I could have changed my life through Lucas Min, but you destroyed me. Now you die. Her sharp heel pierced my eye. I never imagined her hatred for me ran so deep that she would willingly torture her own flesh and blood to death with her own hands. Reborn, this time I chose to watch coldly, letting my sister walk into the hotel. I died in the first snow of winter. My body was cold and covered in whip marks, burns, and needle punctures. Continuous violent throes had shattered my internal organs. My sister and husband told everyone I died in an accident, then cremated me that very day. The day I died was also my birthday. A year before, my sister had wholeheartedly brought me and my current husband, Jason Zhao, together. Jason was a few years older than me, excellent in every other aspect, and very gentle towards me. After we married, he said he wanted to take me back to his hometown for ancestral worship. I went with anticipation. Little did I know I was embarking on a journey to hell. Jason's hometown was deep in the mountains. As soon as we arrived, he confiscated my phone, chained me up, and restricted my freedom. The sudden turn of events left me stunned for a long time. I thought he was joking and laughed, telling him to unchain me, but things were not as I wished. Not only did Jason not remove them, he tortured me even more cruelly. He tore my clothes off and let the men in the village take turns, caring for me. Afterwards, he sat at the door collecting money. Those men were incredibly brutal, showing no mercy or tenderness. Every night, the entire village echoed with my desperate, agonizing screams. I truly didn't understand. The man who used to be so careful and cared for me so much, how could he treat me like this? Why, Jason, why? I screamed, questioning him, tears streaming down my face. Because of me, of course. Jason leaned back, avoiding my gaze. My sister Serena suddenly appeared before him, dressed in dazzling, fiery red from head to toe, so striking it demanded a second look. I was utterly disgusted, not understanding why she was suddenly here. She took slow steps closer, then stomped heavily on my palm. The pain made my entire body tremble. My chest felt like it was filled with long nails, making it impossible to breathe. She looked at my pathetic state and laughed joyfully. That year, you stopped me and Lucas Min, ruined my chance to become Mrs. Lucas. I had to go back to school like all those ordinary people to pursue my master's, my PhD, to work like a dog. Do you know? For years in the hospital, I was either on night shifts or submerged in the lab, losing chunks of my hair. My eyes are almost blind. Every day I live worse than an animal. I had found the ladder to heaven, and you ruthlessly chopped it down. Tell me, how could I not hate you? I hate you so much, I wished you dead every single day. I was chilled to the bone, speechless. My sister and I were identical twins, both admitted to medical school. I was well-behaved from a young age, and after graduating, I naturally went to intern at a top-tier A-list hospital. My sister, Serena, was arrogant from childhood. After graduation, instead of going to a hospital, she chose to intern at the city's most prestigious enterprise. One day, I went to a hotel to meet a friend and coincidentally saw Serena and Lucas Min intimately intertwined at a room door. Everyone knew Lucas Min was a notorious playboy. At that moment, my head buzzed, and without thinking, I rushed forward and dragged Serena away. I never expected her to hate me to the bone for such a scumbag. Even though she was now a famous doctor at a top-tier A-list hospital, she would spare no cost to kill me. To sacrifice her own sister's life, for the ladder to heaven she couldn't climb. Serena took out a lighter and burned my hair, scorching every inch of my flesh. The air filled with an acrid smell. Every nerve and muscle fiber struggled between life and death. I screamed desperately, gradually losing all strength. She wore fiery red high heels, her face twisted in a grotesque sneer. I could have changed my life through Lucas Min, but you destroyed me. Now you die. My survival instinct made me struggle violently, wanting to break free. But I forgot that Jason had imprisoned me for days, not giving me a single bowl of rice. My stomach now contained only digested sand. Tears mingled with blood, blurring my vision. Serena tired of burning, then pulled out a long needle and stabbed me wildly. Her actions were truly cruel, truly swift. Like a madwoman, she ordered Jason to drag me outside, then, like throwing a ball, hurled me forcefully onto the icy snow. One time wasn't enough, then a second, a third. I don't know how many times she threw me, until my internal organs turned into a messy pulp, fresh blood endlessly poured from my mouth, nose, and ears. The next second, her sharp heel pierced my eye, blood gushing out. Die! In my sister's insane laughter, I gradually lost consciousness. I made a solemn vow. If there is a next life, I will surely make her pay blood for blood, drag her into the deepest hell to befriend demons. Lucas Min was known for his extravagant and debauched lifestyle. His father was the chairman of a prominent enterprise in the city, making him a genuine second-generation rich kid. Every time he appeared in the media, it was always with romantic scandals. But even with a bad reputation, one couldn't deny his family's wealth, and he was tall, handsome, like a celebrity. Many girls wanted to use him to elevate their status. My sister, Serena, was one of them. Life in medical school was tough. Every day, from the moment you opened your eyes, you were either in a lecture hall, the library, or the lab. Even weekends required going to the hospital next door to learn from seniors. My sister, arrogant from a young age, how could she endure such hardship? So as soon as she graduated, she asked our father to pull some strings to get her a job at Lucas Min's father's company. At a party, she got to know the noble young master, Lucas Min. She was very cunning. Every day she went to work, she would bring 2 home-cooked meals, often accidentally, running into Lucas Min, using the excuse of having extra to conveniently give him one. Although a rich young master might not care for common food, even endless delicacies can make one crave something simple sometimes. Little by little, my sister reeled in Lucas Min. The first time I found out about their relationship, I warned my sister. Lucas Min is not someone from an ordinary family like ours can touch. Only Cinderella in fairy tales marries a prince. A real-life Cinderella marrying into a powerful family will only suffer contempt. A marriage that isn't a match from the start won't receive blessings. Serena agreed to stay away from Lucas Min, but I knew it wasn't her sincere intention. In my previous life, not long after this conversation, I discovered Serena secretly calling Lucas Min again. I was so angry that I smashed her phone and locked her at home. She retaliated by going on a hunger strike. I didn't care because I knew someone who loved beauty as much as Serena couldn't possibly let herself starve to death. Sure enough, seeing my lack of reaction, she concocted a new scheme. She climbed onto the window, threatening to jump. I physically pulled her back, advising her not to be unreasonable. Seeing that neither tough nor soft approaches worked, she finally humbled herself. She begged me and swore she would never contact Lucas Min again. In front of me, she deleted Lucas Min's information and promised to resign from her old company. Serena's attitude was very resolute. I completely believed her words and gave her back her freedom. I just forgot that habitual liars never lie just once. The next day, I went to a hotel to meet a friend who had just returned from overseas, and again, I found Serena and Lucas Min intimately intertwined at a room door. In my previous life, I couldn't bear to see my sister go astray like that, so I intervened and dragged her away. I explained to her that Lucas Min was too promiscuous and not a good life partner. He might abandon others for her, but he could also abandon her for others. How could a beautiful peacock only spread its tail for one person? But even then, my sister was stubborn and refused to listen to my advice. Helpless, I had to lock her up again. The next day, the media was flooded with news of Lucas Min's impending marriage to a wealthy heiress. My sister saw the news and finally gave up. Afterwards, she returned to school. After graduating, with my help, she married a doctor at our hospital. That doctor was a PhD, very outstanding himself, and 2 years later was appointed as vice president. My sister also became an object of everyone's admiration. I woke up from a sleep, returning to the day my sister was dating Lucas Min at the hotel. The smell of scorched flesh seemed to still linger in the air. My eyes felt sticky and couldn't open, the pain screamed through every nerve. Even though I was reborn, the bone-deep, heart-wrenching agony still clung to me, constantly reminding me of the feud, of the hatred, giving me a chance to start over. I hid in a dark corner, watching Serena intimately kissing in the distance. Even after the room door opened and closed, I didn't move. In this life, I will watch coldly. Watch Serena descend into hell. After meeting my friend, I saw my sister at the hotel entrance as I was leaving. "Sister, why are you here too?" My sister looked at me, her face not only surprised but also flushed, with a hickey on her neck. It seemed that my sister had finally given herself to him in the room just now. I just wondered if Lucas Min would still care about her after she gave herself away. After all, for men, what they can't have is what's most precious. I smiled and said, "I came to meet a friend." "Let's go home." My sister smiled brightly and ran over, intending to link arms with me. I skillfully dodged her, called a taxi to the hospital for overtime, and waited for the next good news. The next day, the city's hot search was filled with news of Lucas Min's engagement to a wealthy heiress. My sister and I both saw it immediately. Her hand holding the phone trembled, tears almost spilling out. It was to be expected. She had been aiming for the position of young madam of the Lucas family. Now that Lucas Min was engaged to a wealthy heiress, all her efforts were in vain, and she probably even felt like dying. "Damn it, you dared to ruin my good fortune." Hearing the vicious curses from my sister's mouth, I sighed, sat down opposite her, and said regretfully, "What a pity. Young Master Lucas is so handsome, yet he's with such an ordinary woman. What a waste." My sister suddenly looked up, staring at me in disbelief. She clearly didn't believe I would side with Lucas Min. After all, I hated that man so much. I continued to sigh. He was just lucky to be born into wealth, given a passport to the upper class from birth. Like us sisters, what if ordinary people are more beautiful than others? Don't we still have to work for others our whole lives? "No way," my sister roared. I pretended to be scared and lowered my voice. "Serena, I know you still like Lucas Min, but he's already engaged. Give up. There are other good men in our city. Besides, it's better to tear down 10 temples than to break up one marriage. We can't be the ones to separate others." Serena was silent for a long time, then suddenly let out a cold laugh. "You think you can defeat fate? They're not married yet, why can't I compete? Even if they do get married, so what? As long as I try, they'll divorce. I need to find a way to quickly get rid of that woman from Lucas Min's side." My sister paced back and forth like a caged beast, muttering those words. I didn't try to persuade her anymore. In the eyes of those who pursue fame and fortune, they cannot see anything beyond them. Serena had never loved Lucas Min. She only loved the benefits Lucas Min brought. She was lost in the world of fame and fortune, completely oblivious that I was pushing her step by step into the abyss. In my previous life, she believed I had ruined her beautiful marriage, hated me to the bone, and would spare no cost to kill me. In this life, I would help her climb the ladder, return to her the beautiful marriage she thought she deserved. Let's see if she gets what she wished for. Father found out about Serena and Lucas Min. Not only did he not scold her, but he praised my sister for being clever and capable, finding him such an excellent son-in-law right after graduation. From now on, in the Sue family, he could also hold his head high. My father, because my mother hadn't given him a son, was constantly gossiped about in the countryside and couldn't hold his head up. He longed day and night for my sister and me to climb high, marry into good families, and bring him honor. He happily pulled my sister to the table, personally poured her a drink, and instructed her to hold onto this golden nugget, Lucas Min, firmly. Serena was clearly stunned for a moment because my sister and I were daughters. Since childhood, Father had never allowed us to sit at the dinner table. This was the first time she had the privilege to sit at the table, and this privilege was brought by Lucas Min. She became even more determined to become the young madam of the Lucas family. She linked arms with Father, coaxing him like when she was little. "Don't worry, Dad. Your daughter will definitely marry into the Lucas family and make you proud." After saying that, she smugly looked at me, who was squatting on the floor eating, not bothering to hide her contempt for me. "Sister, have you found a boyfriend at the hospital yet?" I suddenly looked up, about to speak, when I saw Father's face darken. She has neither beauty nor figure, and she's always like a mute. What man would even look at her? Maybe I'll even have to pay extra dowry for her later. Ever since I found out, Father's attitude towards me had always been like this. My personality was like Mother's, honest and quiet. My sister's personality was like Father's. She knew how to read the room and flatter people. So, even though Father didn't like daughters, his attitude towards me and my sister was completely different. When we were little, if he was happy, he would buy a lot of delicious food. but he always bought what Serena liked. Serena knew how to guess father's intentions from a young age because he bought what she liked, meaning he only wanted her to eat it. If she shared snacks with me, father, even if he didn't say it aloud, would certainly be unhappy. So she never shared snacks with me because she always obeyed father. Father particularly favored her. I remember once in elementary school, after school, it rained heavily and the roads were flooded. Many parents chose to carry their children across the road. My father did the same, but he carried Serena, not me. After crossing the road, Serena sweetly told father, "I've dirtied the shoes you worked so hard to buy, I should take them off and walk barefoot." My father was heartbroken, constantly praising Serena for being thoughtful, and carried her the entire way. Because I had no umbrella, I got soaked walking home and had a high fever that wouldn't go down. Mother wanted to take me to the hospital, but father said I was being delicate and didn't even buy fever medicine, letting me suffer from fever for 3 days straight. Luckily, I had a strong will to live and survived. As a child, I resented father's differential treatment, but as I grew older, left home, saw the wider world, and met more friends, the childhood wounds gradually healed. If you don't care, you won't be hurt. So now that father was scolding me like this, my heart was as calm as an old dog's. After scolding me, father was still not satisfied and turned to scold mother. "Useless woman, you can't even give me a son," causing me to be ridiculed behind my back. "Sooner or later, I'll kick you out of this house." My mother pursed her lips, wanting to argue back, but for fear of being beaten, she chose to remain silent. I patted mother's back, silently comforting her, but what truly broke her down, making her sob uncontrollably, were the malicious words from my sister. Serena and father were on the same side, helping him scold mother. "Dad, how could I have such a mother? She's ugly and rustic. You're the best, Dad." These words pleased my father greatly, and he immediately ordered that Serena could sit at the dinner table from now on. I was afraid the situation would soon get out of hand, so I quickly changed the subject, slowly saying, "Dad, Luca's Min is about to get engaged to someone else. I'm afraid Serena won't have a chance." Before my sister could speak, father quickly scolded me. "Who are you to know anything? They're not married yet, and even if they are, they can divorce. Serena is the future young madam of the Lucas family." Haha, indeed, father and daughter are of one mind, even their words are exactly alike. After scolding me, he turned to Serena and said gently, "Serena, don't worry, Dad supports you." Serena's eyes became even more smug, as if she were already the high and mighty young madam of the Lucas family. In my previous life, even though she despised me since childhood, every time father favored her, she would put on a show of mocking me from her superior position. I always thought of her as my sister and always gave in. But this time, I didn't want to be a tool for her to display her superiority anymore. "Serena, are you sure you can win against Luca's Min's fiancé?" Serena's face stiffened for a moment, but then quickly burst into raw, mocking laughter. "Just because you can't doesn't mean I can't." I remained silent, smiling. Father slammed his hand on the table, ordering me, "Sophia, Serena is your sister. You are the elder sister, you must help her. If things work out, you'll also benefit later." "Benefit? Unfortunately, there are some bargains that you absolutely cannot get involved with." "Yes, sister, you must help me." Serena suddenly looked at me gently and smiled. "Sister, you're interning at a top-tier A-list hospital now. You must know many people, right? Is there anyone among them who is close to Luca's Min?" One moment she was looking down on me, the next she started begging me. My sister, her face changed faster than a Sichuan opera performer. I sneered in my heart, but on my face I feigned awkwardness. "Serena, it's not that I don't want to help you. I'm new to the hospital too, just a novice, currently rotating in the dermatology department. Even if I knew the people you're talking about, I wouldn't be able to say a word." Father frowned, his face red with anger. "Useless. All those years I spent raising and educating you were for nothing. I think you're just wasting your time at the hospital. It's better to send you home to marry. At least we'd get some dowry money to renovate the house in the countryside." I pretended to be scared and quickly changed my tone. "Actually, I recently heard some things about the Lucas Group." "What?" My sister stared, her voice urgent. "The Lucas Group's annual gala is in half a month. I heard Luca's Min will represent his father and announce his wedding date with his fiancé at the party. I absolutely will not allow this to happen." Serena gritted her teeth, her eyes revealing a sinister look like a venomous snake. I observed her expression and carefully said, "So, if you want to marry Luca's Min, you must attend the annual gala, and more importantly, you must completely ruin his fiancé's reputation at the party, so everyone thinks you are Lucas Min's true love." Hearing this, she could no longer hide her excitement, grabbing my wrist tightly. "Sister, I knew you would help me. Don't worry, once I become the young madam of the Lucas family, I will definitely not forget your kindness." I patted her hand, smiling faintly, pretending to be very generous. "You're my sister. No matter what, I'll help you." In my previous life, I wanted to help her live a clean life, but she was ungrateful. In this life, I also helped her, but only to help her descend into hell. "I have a plan, but..." Serena was still worried. "The Lucas Group's annual gala is only for high-ranking company executives and invited guests. New interns like Serena have no right to be invited." The next day, I gave Serena an invitation card to the annual gala. She asked me in surprise how I got it. I vaguely said I got it through a friend. She didn't ask further, immersed in the joy of receiving the invitation. I took the opportunity to invite her shopping for evening gowns. We went from morning till night. After visiting the 20th high-end clothing store, Serena finally couldn't take it anymore. She gritted her teeth, threw the pink gown to the ground, and argued with the sales assistant. "What kind of shabby store is this? Not even one gown satisfies me. Get out." Serena usually appeared generous and approachable, but only I knew that in private, she often lost control of her anger. This time, she probably couldn't hold it in anymore and erupted in a crowded place. In the frightened eyes of the sales assistant, I quickly pulled Serena away, advising her that this was a crucial time. If someone snapped a photo, it would be a stumbling block for her to become the young madam of the Lucas family. Under my soothing words, Serena finally calmed down. I gently comforted her. "If you can't find a suitable gown, I only have one gown my friend left at my place. How about you try it?" Serena had no other choice and had to go home with me. When I opened the gown, Serena's eyes lit up, filled with uncontrollable admiration. It was a red Chinese-style cheongsam, embroidered with golden peonies under the light. The red fabric shimmered, attracting all eyes. Serena quickly put it on. It accentuated her slender waist, and its captivating beauty seemed tailor-made for her. She stared at herself in the mirror, unable to tear her eyes away. I looked at her in the mirror and couldn't help but praise. "At the annual gala, if you wear this, Lucas Min will surely remember you forever." Serena shyly lowered her head, her cheeks flushing. On the day of the annual gala, Serena woke up early, put on the red cheongsam, and asked a stylist to do Amin Guo-style haircut. It must be said that beautiful people are made more beautiful by clothes. Serena, dressed in this outfit, stood there like a beauty stepping out of an ancient painting. Even the stylist couldn't help but praise her. On the way, I told her, "I've arranged for someone to delay Lucas Min's fiancé's arrival. You must seize the time to make everyone know that you are the future young madam of the Lucas family." "Don't worry, sister," Serena said with determined eyes. I was very satisfied with her performance. Of course, I wouldn't find someone to block Lucas Min's fiancé's way. After all, I was just a small intern, without power or influence, and dared not offend anyone. And I wasn't afraid of Serena settling scores later. Because whether Lucas Min's fiancé arrived late or not, Serena would still get what she wanted. Serena smoothly entered the ballroom with the invitation card. As soon as she appeared, she became the center of attention. In the eyes of men, there was undisguised desire, and in the eyes of women, admiration and envy. Serena slightly lifted her chin, arrogantly looking at everything. Clearly, she thoroughly enjoyed this attention. I stood beside her, dressed ordinarily, with an ordinary appearance, and kept my head down. In the eyes of others, I was just her humble maid, but I never cared about such fleeting vanity. I whispered in her ear, "Hurry up and seize the moment." "Don't worry," she said, looking smugly at Lucas Min, with a sense of superiority as if everything was under control. Very good, I liked this blind confidence of hers. Lucas Min also caught her eye at that moment. He raised his glass to Serena, a slight smirk on his lips, his eyes burning with desire. Coupled with his perfectly fitted suit, he truly looked like a dashing young master, refined as jade. If one ignored everything else, Lucas Min's appearance alone made it understandable why Serena was so infatuated. Serena elegantly swirled her red wine glass, politely greeting everyone as if she were the hostess today. Finally, she walked to Lucas Min's side, her slender fingers gently tracing the smooth button on his suit. They both smiled, clinked glasses, and leaned close to talk about something. I knew Serena was very smart. If given a chance, she would definitely seize it, so I found a deserted corner to watch the show. When I looked back at Serena, she had disappeared. Luca's men had also gone somewhere. I was about to search when I saw a group of people surrounding a girl in a white evening gown entering the ballroom. The girl had a gentle smile on her face, her demeanor soft and polite, completely different from Serena's captivating charm. I've seen her on the news before. That's Luca's Min's fiancé, Iris Jiang. Where's Luca's Min? She immediately asked everyone, as if she couldn't be apart from him for a moment. Oh dear, they're already stuck together like glue before marriage. After marriage, they'll probably be inseparable all day. Young love, you know? Understandable, understandable. Everyone understood and teased her. Iris Jiang wasn't angry, her temperament was very good. She replied and then asked about Luca's Min's whereabouts again. Someone told her they saw young Master Luca's go into the lounge next door. Iris Jiang politely thanked them and led a group of people towards the lounge. A cold smile curled on my lips. The good show was finally about to begin. I secretly followed. About to meet her fiancé, Iris Jiang walked faster, happily pushing open the door to the women's lounge. But she looked around and Luca's Min was not in the lounge. Iris Jiang was visibly disappointed. Maybe he's in the other lounge, someone guessed. Iris Jiang and everyone went to the men's lounge. The door was slightly ajar. Iris Jiang didn't hesitate to push it open. The layout was exactly like the women's lounge, but Luca's Min was still nowhere to be seen. Iris Jiang became even more disappointed, intending to return to the ballroom, as someone was needed to manage things there anyway. Oh! Iris Jiang's aunt suddenly exclaimed in surprise. How is there a secret door here? Everyone then noticed another door behind the curtain, blending seamlessly with the wall. If one didn't look closely, they wouldn't notice it. Her aunt pushed hard twice, and the door opened. But the scene that met her eyes made her scream. Iris Jiang rushed in and saw a naked couple passionately entwined, clinging to each other. Luca's Min, Iris Jiang recognized the man. At this moment, she could no longer maintain her ladylike composure, her face flushed with anger, her entire body trembling. Luca's Min heard the noise and suddenly turned around, looking at Iris Jiang in horror. But the panic lasted only a moment. He quickly calmed down, even continuing what he hadn't finished in front of everyone. Serena was even calmer, her moans louder than before, as if she was showing off. Iris Jiang's aunt's face turned ashen. She had just returned from overseas and originally intended to meet her niece's fiancé to assess him. Little did she know she would catch him in the act. The Lucas family must give the Jiang family an explanation for this. Iris Jiang's aunt angrily pulled Iris Jiang, who was taking photos, away. A beautiful annual gala ended disastrously. Iris Jiang angrily left, taking the opportunity to break off her engagement with the Lucas family. The Jiang family was a famous enterprise in Lin City, with influence no less than the Lucas family. With this broken engagement, the Lucas family lost the opportunity to cooperate with the Jiang family. Luca's Min's father was furious, severely scolding Luca's Min. Serena was involved, and Lucas's father also knew of her existence, but he made it clear that he would not allow her to marry into the Lucas family. Serena thought that now that her relationship with Luca's Min was public, the Lucas family would have to accept her. But no matter how clever her calculations, they couldn't stand against a single word from Lucas's father. Serena was in extreme distress, locking herself in her room and crying all day. I couldn't let her give up halfway. After all, my plan had only just begun. One day after work, I casually mentioned, I heard the Lucas family has started looking for potential marriage partners for Luca's Min again. Really? She widened her eyes at me. Of course it's true, I sighed. Serena, Luca's Min is just playing with you. He won't marry you, just focus on your work and don't think about fanciful things anymore. I'll speak to Dad for you, he won't blame you. As if provoked by my last two sentences, a fire ignited in Serena's eyes again. No way. The position of young Madam of the Lucas family can only be mine. I hid the joy in my eyes, pretending to shake my head helplessly. That night, I saw Serena get into Luca's Min's car and drive away. During the days Serena and Luca's Min were intimately involved, I received an acceptance letter from a top medical school abroad. In my previous life, I had trusted Jason Zhao wrongly. In this life, I would not trust any man again. Moreover, I wanted to leave this suffocating home, leave that oppressive father, and rebuild myself. The night I received my acceptance letter, I went to meet someone. Congratulations, you finally got what you wanted. Iris Jiang hugged me tightly as soon as she saw me. I hugged her back, tears welling up with emotion. Iris Jiang released me and wiped my tears. "Why are you crying? This is good news." I nodded. She sat down. I was an ordinary family girl. Iris Jiang was a noble young lady. Two people who seemed to have nothing to do with each other were best friends for over 10 years. Iris Jiang didn't want to marry Lucas Min and came to me to vent. We finally discussed this plan. At the annual gala, she would personally catch them in the act, causing the Jiang and Lucas families to completely fall out. That red cheongsam was Iris Jiang's. It was infused with an aphrodisiac. Once Serena and Lucas Min got close, they would immediately fall into the trap we had set. "Aren't you very fond of your sister? Why use her to scheme?" Iris Jiang's eyes sparkled, showing curiosity. I smiled faintly. "I advised her, but she wouldn't listen, so I can't be blamed. You should have done this a long time ago. Years ago, seeing you bullied by Serena, I wanted to hit her for you. She won't have another chance after this." Iris Jiang giggled, looking at me decisively. "This is the Sophia I know. Oh, right, was what you told me about Lucas Min last time true?" I nodded. I wasn't sure before, but later I secretly investigated and confirmed it. Recently, I was rotating in the dermatology department, and I once saw Lucas Min come to the department for an examination. Moreover, during the examination, the chief doctor sent all of us out. It was very mysterious. Although I wasn't curious about Lucas Min, I am eager to learn. Whenever I see a patient, I want to understand the root cause, but the chief doctor hid Lucas Min's medical records very well, so I couldn't see them. But I still found a clue from the medical waste bin, a vial of tenofovir, a specific drug used to treat and prevent HIV. At that time, I thought Lucas Min might have contracted an infectious disease. Later, I investigated several more times and finally confirmed my suspicion. I had tried to stop Serena from associating with him. Besides Lucas Min's promiscuity, this was another reason. In my previous life, I told Serena, but she seemed to automatically ignore my words. Not only was she not grateful, she conspired with Jason to harm me. In this life, I didn't mention this to Serena at all. Good advice is hard to give to those who want to die. In my previous life, I told her of the tragic outcome. In this life, I don't want to interfere with other people's karma anymore. Iris Jiang clicked her tongue. "It seems your sister is about to face a great disaster." Haha, this is just the beginning. Serena's good days are yet to come. A month later, Serena suddenly stopped dating Lucas Min, confining herself to her room all day. Then, one day, she called me and asked me to come home. Ever since I knew Serena and Lucas Min had become intimate, I used the excuse of an upcoming exam at the hospital to move my belongings to the hospital dormitory, trying my best not to see Serena. If I did meet her, I was very careful. After all, she was now a carrier of the virus. I didn't want to meet Serena alone, so I said I was very busy and asked her to meet at a coffee shop near the hospital. This was the first time I had seen Serena in the past month. She had lost a lot of weight. Even with heavy makeup, she couldn't hide her sunken eyes, prominent cheekbones, and darkened skin. Compared to the day of the annual gala, she looked like a completely different person. I was startled, sensing she had learned something, but before I could speak, she proactively suggested, "Sister, Lucas Min said he wants to marry me, and he wants to meet my family. Mom and Dad recently went back to the countryside, so I can only ask you." "But I've been very busy lately," I said, feigning awkwardness. "Just one meeting, one meal, it won't take much time." Serena gripped my hand tightly, her voice almost pleading, seemingly laced with suppressed sobs. I lowered my head in thought, my brow furrowed, appearing very troubled. "Sister, please, won't you?" Finally, I nodded in agreement. Serena happily left. I took out alcohol sanitizer from my bag and thoroughly disinfected my hands multiple times. Recalling the photos Iris Jiang had shown me that day, my stomach immediately churned. It was truly disgusting. I certainly wouldn't be so foolish as to attend the party, knowing it was a trap. I have no masochistic tendencies. That day, I asked Iris Jiang's people to investigate for me. The next day, she asked me to meet. As soon as we met, she grabbed my hand, her voice trembling. "Sophia, it's a good thing you didn't go. Otherwise, you definitely wouldn't have escaped." Iris Jiang recounted in horror. Lucas Min had told Serena about his illness. Serena was devastated, and he used this to threaten Serena into submission. Last night, he called a bunch of his sick friends to the villa for a wild party. Each of them brought someone new, but the person Serena called didn't come. She heard that Serena was terribly abused. Iris Jiang still felt as if she had just escaped death. If Sophia hadn't discovered Lucas Min's illness early, she might have truly married into the Lucas family for her family. Then she might have been one of those people last night too. I stood frozen in place, confused and unsure what to do. Although I knew Serena had bad intentions, I didn't expect her to drag her own sister into hell. I was completely disappointed in this sister. In my previous life, I stopped her in Lucas Min's good fortune. She harbored resentment and wanted to kill me, but what about this life? I didn't stop her. I even wholeheartedly helped her. Yet she still wanted to harm me. It turns out some people are bad to the bone. No matter how wholeheartedly you treat them, they will never remember your kindness. But it doesn't matter. I don't care about her life or death. Everything here will soon have nothing to do with me. Before my internship ended, I took my mother abroad. My mother had served my father for half her life but gained no affection. She had long given up hope on this man, but she couldn't bear to leave my sister and me, so she had to swallow her bitterness and heal her wounds alone in a dark corner. And my sister's malicious words to her became the last straw. There was no longer love in the world, only a longing for death. Fortunately, I managed to stop her from doing anything foolish in time. I proposed divorce to my father on her behalf. My father's reaction was as if he had eaten a pound of explosives. He immediately erupted, brandishing a whip, intending to hit us. Iris Jiang appeared in time to save us and helped us hire a lawyer to go through the fastest divorce process. The moment my mother received the divorce papers, her whole body was filled with joy. The gentle breeze ruffled the hair on her forehead, a little messy, but I knew that was freedom taking flight. She didn't want to care about my sister anymore either. That very day, she packed a handbag and flew abroad with me. With Iris Jiang's help, my mother learned a foreign language while working as a kitchen assistant at a Chinese restaurant under Iris Jiang's name. When she received her first month's salary, she was as happy as a child but also cried sadly. "Sophia, if I had a job and knew how to earn money back then, I wouldn't have just watched you suffer from a high fever for 3 days." She always carried this burden, feeling that her incompetence had caused me suffering. I gently hugged her. "Mom, it's okay. Everything is in the past. We must look forward." I always knew she loved to cook, and she cooked wonderfully, with beautiful presentation. This was also one of the reasons my father hadn't wanted a divorce for so many years. Perhaps in the future, she could become an excellent culinary artist. Summer vacation ended, and I successfully enrolled in school. My grades were excellent. In just 1 year, I received a high scholarship from the university. My mother and I no longer had to worry about finances. When there were no classes or during holidays, Iris Jiang often came to visit me, telling me some news from home. "Why don't you ask about Serena's situation? Aren't you curious?" "Curious?" I glared at her. "I'm busy to death every day." How could I have time to be curious about her? If you hadn't mentioned her, I would have forgotten such a person existed. In my previous life, even though she killed me, I should indeed hate her. But in this life, I have already exacted my revenge. Even though I didn't kill her, watching her life diminish little by little is even more devastating than killing her. Moreover, murder is illegal. I am in the prime of my youth and do not want to go to prison because of her. Iris Jiang finally couldn't hold it in and burst out. It turns out that after I left, Serena continued to live a debauched life with Lucas Min. Lucas Min had no intention of treating her illness. Seeing her frail and weak, he abandoned her not long after. Serena went to his door begging many times, but Lucas Min ignored her and even had his people beat her up. Serena had no choice but to go home and beg father for help. My father, who valued profit above all else, saw that she no longer had any exploitable value and was even afflicted with a shameful illness, so he heartlessly kicked her out of the house. Serena, without the support of Lucas Min or father and unable to find a job, had to resort to begging on the streets. After listening, I sighed inwardly. Perhaps in my previous life, if I hadn't saved Serena, she would have met this fate anyway, but with me there, she wouldn't have been so miserable. At least my mother and I genuinely cared for her. I heard Serena eventually went mad and was locked up in a mental hospital. It's truly tragic. Iris Jiang added, shaking her head. I relaxed my brows and smiled lightly. Everyone has their own destiny. Those are their choices, step by step. Having lived 2 lives, I've learned to respect the fate of others. Just like my mother, if she had stubbornly refused to divorce father at the beginning, I wouldn't have cared for her either. Ultimately, whatever the outcome, it's her own choice. Iris Jiang tilted her head curiously, looking at me. Why do I feel like you've achieved enlightenment? I looked into the distance where the lake and sky met, smiling silently. Having lived 2 lives, if I still haven't found clarity, wasn't my previous death in vain? Now, I have the career I love, cherished friends, and a beloved mother.